Welcome to the Agent Upgrade Podcast with your hosts Milan Krnjetin and Alan Corey, where we learn the strategies of top producing real estate agents so you have the tools to upgrade your own real estate career.
All right, this is going to be a fun episode of Agent Upgrade. I'm excited about our special guest, Jasmine. I imagine you're extra excited about our
You think?
guest.
You think?
Yeah.
I'm super excited. Okay, well, first things first, we're like, it's like we're recording this at 8:00 at night because our guest is in Shanghai, China. So he's 12-hour difference. So it's been like when he wakes up, we go to sleep, and when we go to sleep, he wakes. So it's really tough to schedule. But I am super excited to introduce you guys to one of my favorite people in the whole world. And he just happens to be my cousin. He happens to have the same cool last name as I do. So you guys are going to be seeing double trouble.
Before it started, the way you pronounce your last name is not what sounded so much cooler than the way I pronounce your last name.
Most people don't know how to. I can't wait to hear what Milan says, how people pronounce his name in China. Right. So back home, our last name is Krnjetin.
I love that.
Krnjetin is the way you're supposed to pronounce it.
Okay.
In America, I kind of let Americans slide, and I let them do Krnjetin. I let them skip the J, pretend they can do the rest of it, and I'll go for that. But I'm not really sure what happens in China, so we'll find out from Milan what they call him over there. Right. But yeah, so this is going to be a super fun episode. Milan is a tennis coach in Shanghai. And I cannot wait to unfold his story with you guys. He is a powerhouse. He's been a tennis coach for a really long time. He has played as a sparring partner to Novak and Federer and all these other big guys. He's been on tennis courts with some amazing players. He is a powerhouse. He is amazing, and I cannot wait to spend the hour with him. So
yeah, I'm excited too. And if you're listening, wanting to know what does this have to do with real estate, it's the way I look at it, guys, is that this is a guy who's risen from the top, overcome all sorts of obstacles, made a name for himself in many different countries, starting from zero and working his way up. Very inspirational story, hardworking. And, Jasmine and I talk about social media a lot. And if you want to, we're going to get a lot of tips on social media. It looks like TenFitMen has over 50,000 subscribers, and he's got even more on Instagram and other social media channels. So he's building a brand for himself. And that is what every real estate agent needs to do, is build a brand for yourself of what makes you unique. It makes you distinctive. We're going to learn a lot today. So excited to have our other, I was about to say our first international guest, but we had some Canadians before, but this is a truly international from China. So this not born and raised. Well, we'll get the story.
He's going to fall asleep in the waiting room.
All right.
We have so much stuff to say about him.
Welcome to the show, Milan.
Good morning.
Hello, guys. Hello, everybody. So happy, excited to be on Agent Upgrade show, and honored to be part of this talk now. And yes, also looking forward to it. It's a bit early for me here, so I apologize for my not very sharpest look, because it's the full lockdown here, guys. You cannot believe it. I don't know if you watch the news, 2022, and this time 2 years after the COVID breakout, and we are still in a full lockdown. Not still, it just happened recently, and yeah.
So when you say full, does that mean you can't even leave your apartment?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's been 15 days. Yes, but it's okay. As you mentioned, we're all about overcoming challenges. So this is another way to overcome it. And, you figure out different things. You learn more things about yourself as well. And yeah, it's good. I take it.
So just some logistics here. How long have you lived in China?
I've been here more than 6 years now.
6 years. So the last 2 years and some change, you can't leave your apartment at all. Like food has to be delivered to you, or everything you've been doing is virtual. you haven't picked up a tennis racket, I would imagine, in
Yes.
2 years.
Well, the full lockdown is just for the last couple of weeks.
Okay. Full lockdown. Got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Before that, we actually lived. I cannot complain. It was really amazing, especially Shanghai, very safe. And in terms of the COVID, you didn't really feel it. So maybe I have no rights to complain. This is the first time that I'm experiencing actual lockdown.
Okay.
But it's because it was so unexpected. Nobody was waiting for it. And now even the government, you can say at least they were not ready because delivery is not working. So this is the worst part of everything.
Yeah.
Because you're living in a city and everything is, kind of shining. You're living a good lifestyle, and suddenly everything is taken away from you, including the food. Like it's really, really kind of scary. Like
Right.
I had a couple of days, I didn't have any food apart from a couple of fruits, and then you have this kind of very uncomfortable feeling, because you have the three like necessities, including food, the clothing, and the shelter. And then if you're missing one of those, it's really, really tough. But then you kind of go through that, and it's also good. You learn about the basics, like you learn to appreciate some little things. So I think it's another great lesson. So we always try to see it good in everything. So.
All right, so I feel like we've got a long backstory about how you ended up in China.
Yeah. Let's start us at the beginning. Start us at
before. Yes, for China, it's very random. It was never intended. I just got the offer from a friend for this position of high performance tennis coach, and the title, the job was okay, but the location I wasn't really too impressed, and I wasn't too excited about it. I didn't want to go. I didn't plan to go to this side of the world. First of all, it's so far, and all the information I got about this place was not the greatest. My friends who were also here before, they said they struggled with food, they had problems with stomach, and also English was very, very big problem. But the thing is, they were not in Shanghai. So that was the difference. And I didn't know about that Shanghai is really not China. So that's very interesting for most people who've never been to China. Shanghai is really, really special place. And because it's, definitely becoming so international, and it's so growing. If you go, everywhere you go, there are people like building things. It's incredible how much capital here there is. And including the real estate, it's insane. This city is
being an international city, how do they pronounce your last name?
Yeah, that's fun. It's always challenging to explain, because the people here they cannot roll the R. I don't know how it's in America, right? Yeah. My last name should be Krnjetin, right? So when they ask me, I always try to soften that R. So I just make it like Krnjetin. Okay. And then they're okay. Yes, they make that, but you need to guide them. I need to guide them very precisely.
But isn't it so interesting, Miko? Back home, our last name is not a common last name, but people just know how to pronounce it. It's like nobody ever because it's just so easy. There's not that many Krnjetins in Serbia either, but they just look at it. Everybody knows how to pronounce it. But here,
I had difficulties at home as well.
Yeah, you did. I must have left earlier.
Some people they struggle. You have to repeat a few times. Yeah.
So you went from born and raised in Serbia, and then I knew you lived in the United States, right?
Yes.
Where have you lived? I guess is my question. The globetrotting life.
So, start us from the beginning.
I guess we have this in our blood. The family.
We do.
This side. Some are a bit more staying at home, but for my studies, I went to US, and this happened when I was around 20. So it was kind of maybe at the last moment, because I was planning to go for the professional career. So even towards the end of my high school, the last 2 years, I was doing kind of studying from home. So we made this arrangement with the principal of high school. I was the exception. The school usually didn't do this. It's like the most prestigious high school in the city, and everybody was going through the strict protocols and the schedules. But because I was really into this tennis thing, and I was like obsessed with it. I was a good student, so they allowed me to do it. So the last 2 years of high school, I was studying on my own and then going to classes randomly. I was still part of my class and classmates who were like really hated it because they were thinking, how can you just show up like this and then take the little oral exam and then you're like, so. But I was training like 3 times a day, like
right.
even during the high school. So, and then there was this point where I had to decide, yes, professional career, it's a huge step because you put on the line everything, and then you maybe also risk the lack of education. On the other hand, I had an option to go to US and study, get a scholarship, get a full tennis scholarship. Usually at this level, you're able to get it. You just have to maybe look for what place fits you, right? Yeah, so I went to US and I played for Auburn University in Alabama.
Great university, yeah.
Which is kind of not too far from you guys, right? Yep. You are also in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm in Atlanta too. It's probably 2.5 hours from us. So I know
so you are familiar with it.
Yeah.
So I went there, and then this is where I spent the next 5 years, roughly, I think. Yes, studied industrial design, and that was interesting experience. But now it feels like it's not in the previous life, but it's like in 5 lives ago. It feels like so long time ago. But it was great experience and another way to overcome challenges. It was difficult to be there on my own for the first time, but luckily I had Jazz and the rest of the family there. They were like, they helped so much. Made me feel like I'm like far from home, but I'm also close to home.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then so after you graduated from Auburn, that's where you got the position in China?
No, then I wanted to play more. I wanted to compete at professional tennis because I still had this dream. I still wanted to play because at this level, when you're in US, you are still training every day like hardcore, and you are still competing on the highest level. So you are at the level where you can still play. And I wanted to give myself a shot. So I went back home, and that's when I spent the next roughly 2 years playing tournaments, but also at the same time, it was very tough to support that financially. So I had to do some kind of coaching on the side. So I was doing both. I was doing a bit of hitting sessions and then going for tournaments alone. I didn't have a coach. Another challenge, very, very difficult. And you may probably know this. And in the real estate world, like if somebody wants to do something on their own, it's very difficult. You need to have a mentor, a guide, right? In your case, a professional real estate agent who's going to help you and who know exactly what's the way to do it. So it's very difficult to do it on your own, no matter how obsessed and passionate you are about that thing, or like in that case, you're like, oh, I want to have this amazing place, and all these things. Like you need a mentor, you need somebody who will guide you. So yes, it was tough, but I enjoyed it. I made my goals to become the world ranked player, and then I went to London. I spent 2.5 years in London doing my master's. This was also random. The things just happen. Like when you look back, it's like, wow. But then when you get to the present, you look at the famous quote from Steve Jobs. You're looking back. You can only connect the dots when you turn back, right? And sometimes when you look forward, like it's tough. You don't really know where the life of the river of the life will take you. But anyways, yes, London, I studied finance and risk. That was the major for my master's. That's when I got interested in that. I even took the CFA exam, if you're familiar with that, Charter Financial, level 1, passed that. And then after that, 1 year later, I got to China, 2016. So that's the story, roughly.
Well, that's awesome. And in London, was there tennis being played as well, coaching or playing professionally?
Yeah, I meant that. Tennis is all the time because this is what you call the calling or this passion. It's like you cannot get rid of it. You don't want to get rid of it. It's always there. So I was doing the coaching job there, and at the same time I represented university. So I was still playing for the university. That's how I got the scholarship there. So tennis really helped me all the way through life. It's the reason why I went to all these places,
right?
Including China. So
So to tie this back into real estate real quick, it sounds like you're saying, you were a coach, but you've also had a coach, and people who are at the top of their game sometimes think, oh, I don't need a coach anymore. I know Jasmine uses coaches, and I've used some coaches. Michael Jordan, best basketball player, he had a coach, not just a head coach. He had a shooting coach, and then he had a defensive coach. He had no one's too good for coaches. Like you want a coach, someone who holds you accountable, teach you new things, a mentor at least. And it sounds like what I heard from you is not only did you have that in your life, but you've also provided that for other tennis players as well. And then along this way, you've been building a brand. So was that something purposeful that you, or was that sort of looking back, you've connected the dots? Oh, that happened just naturally, or was this something you went out to achieve?
That's a great question, and also makes me think about the whole process, the whole journey. I think from the beginning it was just following the passion and the desire to play the game, and doing everything that's related to that. That means all the discipline, hard work, daily, consistently, like for so many years. And but unknowingly, during all this time, you were kind of creating your own brand. We all have our own brand, basically, right? You represent yourself, no matter if you kind of show it to the world or you are just yourself. So basically, during this time, this kind of brand thing is the lifestyle. The brand is like who you are and your lifestyle. And then it happened maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So the second year, maybe here in China, this is when the first time I had this kind of idea to just make a post about, I had some thoughts, maybe we had some trainings with the juniors, and then I had this idea, I want to make a post about maybe how to become better next time on court. Like, I just wanted to make something to share it with others. And I felt, instead of just telling 1 or 2 players on the court, if I make a post, maybe the other players from other groups in the club, they can also see it. So at the same time, you can impact a couple of more people. So this was only for this. We use this WeChat here in China. WeChat is their app.
Yeah.
So I had only a few contacts there. So this was not for a worldwide audience. It was just for these people. So that's how it started. It was one day, and then the next week, because I got a few feedback, like a few people told me something about it. Oh, that was very, very cool. And not just because of that, I felt good to share this. So the next week, I made another one. I called it, okay, let's call this lesson 1. And then for some reason, I was not influenced by anybody. It just came naturally. Next week, lesson 2, lesson 3. And I remember at that time, I started dating one girl, and she was making some comments. Oh, I cannot wait for the next lesson or something. Encouraged me, and she was the one. She gave me idea to, why don't you start a YouTube channel? Why don't you make the video about tennis and upload it on YouTube? And I was like, what? Me, like, I to go on YouTube? Like, there's no way. And then the second thought was like, hold on, like I studied design, and I always kind of missed, and this is where you kind of also can connect some dots, right? So I have this idea of how I can put things together and maybe create something about like this, if there is a brand, if there is a logo. So this is the creative side. And yes, so then I had to learn about editing a bit more, and that made me so excited, learning new things. And it's, when you want to share your thing, and you're always excited. So always like, you ask me, I can talk the whole day. So feel free to interrupt me. Yeah, so you can guide me better. Yeah. But I don't know if I answered the question though. But yes, so it's the brand started then, and it's been an even more exciting journey after that, because you start sharing the story, and you get amazing feedback, and you feel that you have some impact, which is incredible. Not just to one person, but you like open the doors like everywhere. So that's the power of internet. Yes.
Right. So the brand you have, is the brand, what is the brand, I guess? Is it your name? Is it a company? Is it a slogan? Or?
Yes. Again, it's like, overall, it's
you,
who I am. Like, yeah. What's my story, lifestyle, and the brand name is TenFitMen. which
TenFitMen.
represents tennis, fitness, and mentality or mental strength.
Oh,
Because that was the first idea when I started. I wanted to include these three elements. Of course, tennis as a main part. It's starting with tennis, but tennis is also about fitness. You have to be, it's 50%. But then you have the mental part, which as you go higher, as you become more and more advanced, as in everything, the mentality part maybe even becomes more important the more you want to go up. Right. So it's important to have technique, and for you guys as well, and for the world of real estate and agents, like agent world, you can know all the important things, all the technical parts, and whatever is your fitness part there, you need to be able to talk to people a long time, and then there is the other part. You need to know the emotional side, and how to deal with this thing. Like, it's also EQ and the whole mindset and perseverance and everything together. So I think this can be relatable to a lot of other aspects of life. So it's not just tennis. This is where I feel good about it, because it's not too narrow. At the moment, I have kind of like a narrow following in terms of the people, but I try to spread the message more that it's about that mentality. So. And lately, I've been doing a lot of lives, and I also have some podcasts. I use other platforms, but this one I discovered now. I'm gonna definitely try to do it more. It's really amazing.
I love
Anyways,
it.
that's the answer.
I mean, I think that that it's so critical, especially when you think about a game like tennis. I feel like it's, yes, like you said, fitness, obviously, right? But the mental part of it, I don't know that people realize, like, how much of the game is actually won inside of your head, just between you and yourself, right? And not letting the opponent get the best of you, and just staying focused, staying in the game. But I think that applies to everything in life, right? It's all mind over matter, right? You can kind of advance, and you can make changes to your life, because I find that it's really, no matter what comes your way, it's really how you react to whatever it is that's come your way. That's really everything life is. It's just, what's your perspective? How are you going to react to it? Right. And that's the whole story on a tennis court as well. It's like, how are you going to process this? How are you going to react?
Yeah. The saying that problem is not a problem. It's actually how you see the problem. Right.
Yeah.
So, and they say probably like 99% of the problems, whatever is happening, they're not problems. It's just because you see them as problems. And I don't know, for you guys, what would be your biggest challenges or so-called problems or issues in your world? I would be interested to hear that.
Yeah, well, on the real estate side, the problems can range. Well, it's a people business, so sometimes the problems comes from the clients or the sellers or the listing agent or the buying agent, depending where you are in the transaction. It's a people, and then the other problems are just governmental red tape, legalese. Where's the paperwork for this house and the deed and the title? And so those are basically, it's either some sort of legal problem or it's a people problem.
But also, I would imagine, the way I look at it, also, the problems are also things that you create yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And because you have the same way as in tennis, you have certain real estate agents that are performing at such high levels. And then you have people that are too afraid to even connect with one person and try to make a sale or something along those lines. So I think that I think a lot of the how you present yourself in the world has got to do with how you think inside yourself, and then you go out and you find your clients, and whatever the problem is, it comes your way, but you're going to just you can figure out ways to overcome it. So talk to me a little bit about, I have a couple questions. So while we're still talking about the mental mindset situation, I would be curious to hear some things that you have picked up on the tennis court, because you have been around some of the top of the top players in the world. And what have you picked up on, like when you've seen them on the sidelines or heard how they talk, or Yeah, just give us some mindset nuggets that you may have picked up from the tennis courts that you've been on.
Yeah, definitely. That's something special. And so some of the players I was on court with, first of all, is Novak Djokovic, and I think currently he's again back to number one. There was some brief period where he was taken down by Daniel Medvedev, who, by the way, I also played with before. And yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see how these guys are dedicated, and you know how much attention they put on like these details, like even for some trainings like off the court, when you see them in the gym. Of course there are different characters. Some of them would like to joke around, but usually they're like so in the zone, and they're mostly in their world, especially on the match day. You know, when they're doing this warm-ups and trainings, it's gonna be like laser focus and attention to details on the like really finest level. And another thing is like they know exactly what they're doing, like every single second. There is no one part of the training or like one moment where it's just like random. Everything is so planned out that it's like scary. And then they will have, you mentioned briefly about having a coach or a mentor. They all have, at least the ones I played with. I think maybe the exception is, well, Nick Kyrgios. I don't know if you know this guy. He's
he's a hothead.
Very special. Yeah, I think he travels without the coach, but he always has a team, like friends. I always make a joke. It's like entourage. You know, entourage.
Yeah, right.
So it's like his team, and now there's a girlfriend. But you need to have somebody, like even if it's just like a statue, like they don't need to do much. You need like this kind of mental support as well. But most of others, they have a person like who is an expert, you know, like their competence level is like super high. And you know, they can always point out things. Even Djokovic, and you mentioned like even those best in the world in their fields, including Jordan, and they have their mentors and you know, people who guide them. So it's interesting. And I also put up some videos with trainings with Djokovic, and he's famous for his best return. Like he's the best returner in the world, probably of all time. That means returning the serve, if you don't know, right? So I had like I think 6-7 trainings with him, which is like a lot. So we always focus on the return and a big portion, because for him it's a big part. And usually the guys now, they're like huge servers, and luckily enough I hope I can produce a serve that's good quality enough he can practice it. And there was this moment where his coach at the moment, now he's his ex-coach, they just split apart after 15 years. Marian Wajda, he's like super famous. He's standing behind Djokovic, and my camera is right behind because I was recording this. And he's checking him on his return. And then so Djokovic is ready for the serve, and I hit some good serves he cannot return. This is not the point that I'm so good at the serving. It's just he's watching him how he's returning. So he wants to check, because Novak turns around and he's like, what's happening? Why this? Why I cannot return? And then this guy is telling him something. Oh, it's because you do this. And then because I have it on a video, and I did it for the purpose audience. Let's check it out. And I rewind and I play again, and it's like it's nothing related, like, because he said something very basic, on the return. And of course, Djokovic, he's the best in the world. He did that properly. It was not a problem. It's just sometimes you cannot return the serve if it's very precise, and after he would return. But the point here is that even that level of competence, and because after I also talked to Novak personally, it's not just about that competence sometimes, right? Well, this coach, he's great. He cannot be better than Djokovic, right? In terms of knowledge, cannot. You mentioned it's more about this mental support as well. And what Novak said is about quality of people. When he won the finals, I was lucky enough to train with him for every match. This was 2018, and he won the title. So I was courtside, and then later we met in the like hallway, and he wanted to like tell me like, this is also your trophy. It was amazing. And this is when I asked him a question, and I actually made a video with like selfie camera. in front of all the press. And later they were like chasing me, like all these reporters, like, you have to delete that video. And I didn't delete it, I uploaded it. And I asked him, oh, no, can I ask you a question, please? Like, he said, sure. Like, you know, he would do anything in that moment. It's like happy and grateful. And I asked him, one advice you have for all the, you know, the young players who are like chasing their tennis dream, like what would it be? So this was my first idea what to ask him after he wins this big trophy. I don't know if
Right.
it's very convenient, like, because but he was in the zone, and then he gave the answer. The point of the answer was surround yourself with good quality people. So it was not, imagine that, right?
Mhm.
That's his number one advice. Well, he's like, yeah, be like a patient and have this like a discipline and all this. But the main point was you have to surround yourself with good quality people, and then they will put you on the right path, right? So yes, that's the advice for him from what I learned from these guys.
There's a famous quote in the business books. I don't know who to attribute it to, but it's, you become the person, the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? So if you're spending your time with 5 people who they have that focus, that desire to grow, everything like that, then you kind of pick up on those traits. And so it's really, you know, if you have, it's like hanging out in the high school, you hanging out with the 5 kids who are smoking in the bathroom. Well, you're going to get busted smoking in the bathroom, right? Or you're going to be the 5 who are really studying hard and whatever your interests are. So that doesn't stop in high school. That follows you your whole life.
So true. Yes, that's a great lesson.
So I surround myself with Jasmine and her friends. Just
right. And I just hang out. Anytime Milan is online, I'm always watching his lives.
Oh my God! Except when I'm playing guitar, you should not.
Oh my God, that was awesome! He was playing guitar on his live last weekend, and he was asking for ideas for what to sing, and I was like, "You need." I was like, "Some Johnny Cash, baby. You have to." So he did. He played some Johnny Cash for us. He's like, "I've never heard of this guy, but I think I like him." It's pretty awesome. He did such a good job.
That was good. But you need to get back to guitar. When was the last time you played guitar, Jazz?
I know. I need to restring my guitar. I totally need to.
So yeah. When was the last time?
Probably not. It's been more than a year. More than a year.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Wow. I thought you were going to say like a decade. That's good.
No, it wasn't that long because I got a steel guitar for my birthday. Not last birthday, but the birthday before I got a steel guitar. So I've been trying to mess around with that.
Wow.
Totally country. I'm like going country. Totally.
I think that could be a good way to, work on this kind of piece, and like it's part of this mental mentality, meditation or something. It can put you in this world, right?
Yeah, because you have to, like, what I love about music is that, like, you have to stop focusing on everything else. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, you cannot be having this mental chatter about, did I put away the dishes? What about this client? What about that? Like, you're just like, you have to just shut down and go into the zone completely to be into the music. I wanna ask you, so you've been working out like a freaking maniac. Like how many days have you worked out? Like every single day?
Today is 784.
700. Can you believe this? 784 days he's worked out every single day. Not only is he on the tennis courts playing tennis all day long, coaching, but he's gotten a workout in every single day.
You put this live on to hold yourself accountable in your audience.
Yes. Well, I didn't make any promises there. I just do it like it's my own thing. And it happens to, I share it. I like to share it. And I document every single training. Whereas Sundays, we're usually more like a easier workout, more like stretching, but I still spend this kind of 1 hour at least for that. So yeah, it's just been crazy, but it became a part of the daily routine. So it's the lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I'm not intending to stop for. I don't want to say forever. It's a bit crazy to say.
Well, you have to hit 1,000 at least, right? You're committed. you're committed to hit 1,000.
Yeah. No, but I cannot really imagine. Like, it's just so natural for me now to do it. Like, I don't need to plan it. I don't need to like think about it. I know at some point I'm just gonna do it. Like, during the day, at some point, it's not always fixed because my schedule is really like going like up and down, like, and it's flexible. So I would have days where I'm on the tennis court for more than 10 hours, and I know somehow I will find the time. If necessary, I will do it at 11 p.m. when I come back home after the whole day. Like, I'm barely walking, I will still do it. Like, there is no question. So this is the good part of it. Like, you commit to it. You are you're responsible for it, but it's your own decision. And this is the best way when you do something because you want to do it, not because of anything else. And this is when you're creating this discipline, and that kind of reflects, I think, on many things outside of that. So yes, that's good.
I love it. So talk to us a little bit. So you kind of organically started building your following online. So looking back, how long ago did you start your channels? So it was like 2018?
Yeah, you're right. You were following. I think I said, like 2 years since after I came here. 4 to 5 years ago, I would say. Yeah, roughly like that. Maybe 4.5, 2018. This is where I started first. In the beginning, was not at that high level of being like serious about it. How things go, and then slowly it kind of evolved. But yes, let's say like 4 to 5 years, and without some like intention of achieving something. The point was just to share the journey, and hopefully you can have at least some like feedback that somebody got something from it. And that was the drive. That was the main drive when you see that, wow, this makes sense. And just sharing my journey, it means something to the world. And
I mean, if I excuse me, boil down what I'm hearing from you, it's one, and also I think a lot of athletes have this sort of mentality. It's consistency, and it's purposeful, and it's hard work. Malcolm Gladwell in his book, what was it, Outliers? He had sort of that. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. I'm confusing two books, but
there's Blink and there's Outliers, yeah. Right?
but it came back to basically saying that. Oh, yes, what he said. He said the people who actually in their youth spent so much of their time on like a very singular focus, sort of like you did with tennis, or it could be if you were in band. If you tried to achieve the highest level of something in your childhood, that give you the skills, the foundation, the footprint to be like, oh, this is how you succeed at whatever. Like, I have to put in this amount of work, and I see that in you, and you just repeat that. You do that for your workout routine. You do that for TenFitMen. You do that for your Instagram lives. You do that. Like, it's just like you have the foundation of commitment and consistency and giving it your best. And that's the recipe for success. It's easier said than done, but you're proving it over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the essential part of everything, but it's always a choice, right? And I heard this, I don't know who it was, but it's a great way to explain it. You have an option, like and there has to be a trade-off, right? The sacrifice. Are you going to be so unidimensional, and it's not even 100%, it's like 150%, and then you're just doing that one thing, and you will, after time, you will definitely reach a certain level of competency, and you have a shot to become great, right? On the other side, the choice is to touch on different aspects and areas of life, including the social life, including some like leisure activities and all this, and then you can be at 70-80% at more things, but then you will never reach there. So it's it's the choice. Are you gonna well, which one is better? You cannot say. It all depends. Maybe somebody would prefer to be able to also hang out with friends and go to these vacations and be on doing a couple of hobbies on the side, right? And have the career. But then for somebody, this is also like fulfilled life. It's very individual, right? For me, like I enjoy this process, and maybe I'm lucky I found this the passion, and I like to keep going with that. But just to touch on that, what you said, the consistency is really, really like crucial part of everything. And I was giving this live the other day, and I wanted to talk about the word like concept of being relentless and having the relentless mindset. So the main message there was, the definition of relentless. It's actually my favorite word. It's like never ending, and it's never like losing that kind of intensity. So it's not about the intensity, but it's being the consistent over time,
over and over again. Yeah.
And this is another book that I read from Tim Gruber, and he was the mentor of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. So the book is called Relentless, and it's talking about this, that's really extreme. He's talking about this extreme mindset, which is like, only can be applied like this top guys, but you can definitely pick up something from that. And that has some effects on how I see things, and definitely it worked out, and it's working well. And just to add to this, if you don't mind, so about this relentless thing.
Yeah.
What I said, it's about finding your rock. So I made this kind of analogy with a rock, that the rock you can push against the mountain, and the relentless part there and the consistency is that the goal should not be actually to get on top of the mountain, because once you get there, what happens then? You maybe achieve that success, and that feeling that's going to last only for very temporary, right? Maybe a couple of minutes or hours or days, but then what? Well, what do you do then? So that if that's the goal, if that's the whole point of your the purpose, then you will feel at some point that you reach the top. There is nothing more. So the goal should be that you are consistent in that, your desire and this passion to like just pushing the rock up. The process, whatever is the game, whatever you're doing daily, of course you can have some North Star. It can kind of drive you, like go some direction, but you need to play this game that's never ending, and that's the relentless part, and then being consistent along the way. So yes, just sharing some wisdom there. It's like I think it's related. It's very related to everything that you do in any careers and in any fields. So also for the real estate, how would you explain this consistency and the relentless mindset in the world of real estate and the things you're doing, guys?
I think it's following up with clients. It's your marketing. And however you're doing marketing, it's touch points. It's just making sure that your sphere knows that you're in business, you would like their business, that you want to give them valuable feedback and advice on the real estate deals. But a lot of times people are, I don't want to call that person. That person doesn't want to hear from me. But if you just make it a regular routine, it's like, oh yeah, it's good to hear from you, Alan. Thanks for reaching out. Yeah. Okay. And sometimes you're just checking in like you would on a friend, and you don't even talk about real estate, but the fact that people don't get phone calls anymore. Right. So they're sort of surprised, but if they answer, that means they want to talk to you. I promise you that. If they don't answer, maybe, I tell myself they're busy, but maybe they just don't want to talk to me. Right. So if someone's picking up the phone, they saw your name and they want to talk to you. But I think if you're just consistent about that, and you just have as many people as possible that know that you do real estate, that you're going to be successful. That's what it takes. That's the consistency. branding and marketing. That it usually takes 6 months of marketing. So whether you're mailing out something, whether you're doing Facebook posts or TikTok, at a minimum, you won't see any sort of feedback for until you do it every day for 6 months, or regularly every 6 months, every week for 6 months, or whatever schedule and cadence you're on. And people don't get instant results the first month or the first 2 months, so they stop doing it. And it was like, wow, man, you were halfway till it was about to start, paying dividends for you.
Yeah, I agree.
Same as the gym, right?
Yeah,
Exactly same.
True.
If you go one time, you'll see no results. If you go for 1 week, probably not. Like 2 weeks, probably not. Like it really takes time, and it has to be consistent. And it's not so much about the intensity. That's another thing. Like if somebody would ask me advice about whatever the trainings and this kind of approach to things, intensity over consistency, right? On any given day, consistency. It's gonna be the intensity. So I guess also in your world, like how you approach the clients, like as long as you're consistent and building the brands, everything. It's not gonna happen like 1 day or 1 week you go hardcore and you do everything, you make all these posts and then you're gone. Like there is no, you need to create the momentum. So creating the momentum and then keeping that momentum, right? That requires all this like daily little things, and it takes time and patience, like everything else. Yeah.
But I think going back to your point of that's like making that your goal, right? That's the game. That's it. It's not like getting there or getting this. It's like, this is it. This is your game. Like you're every single day, like going back to what you mentioned with Novak, like every second of their day is like they know that it's optimized, right? Like they know what is happening with every minute before the game. They know exactly what practices they're going to do, how they're going to train. And it's these amazing players and people that perform at these levels. You don't get there by just rolling over out of bed and kind of stumbling around and seeing like, well, maybe I'll call somebody today. Like you have to be intentional. But I think when you make your whole day, like when you make your everyday part of that game, right? When that's it, you're not doing it because of something that's going to happen in the future. You're doing it because today is the day.
Yeah. I mean, so many agents get into the business because they're like, oh, I wanted to create my own schedule. And it's like, okay, well, what are you doing with that schedule? Are you rolling out of bed and just saying, well, what's going to happen to me today? Or are you have in your schedule, I'm going to call for 30 minutes every day at this time. I want to go do this. I want to go do that. That's what it takes. Yeah.
Well, you're going to be very happy to hear that we are starting that I have a trainer. I work out with a trainer 3 times a week now. Thank you very much. Thank you. Nice. I do that. Yes. But we're also going to have a boot camp once a week at our house that we're going to have outside with our trainer is going to be here. We're going to invite a bunch of our friends and we're all going to work out together. See, I'm picking up what you're dropping, my hun. I know. Yeah. I'm inspired by your workouts by the river.
Oh, the river. Okay.
Yeah, the boot camps.
Yeah. Now I can only look at the river, but it's fine.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love it.
I did, speaking of that, when I watch other people that I use, other vendors who have like you see them sweating on their Peloton bike, or they're working out really hard lifting weights, and even your videos, Jasmine, you started putting some of your workout routines online. That people are like, well, that's me at my worst because I'm sweaty and I'm gross and I'm grunting. But what I've realized watching other people, it's, wow, I would hire that person, like someone who's working out that hard for themselves. Like that makes me want to support them. That makes me want to hire and say, yeah, will you come, whatever it is, be my painter or whatever it is, kind of thing. Come into my network, be my mortgage lender. Like that's really sort of inspiring and to me as well, even though it's not me sweating.
Yeah. Well, Jazz, you want to say something, or I can go?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this is one of the main differences when we talk about choosing, who you want to engage with or who can be your mentor. Like you want somebody who is an idol, who is representing a certain lifestyle that you want to have, and not just related to the thing that you're doing, right? So, and you want somebody who is showing and who is teaching by actions. It's not, somebody who is just good with talking, but you will also see that they are doing the things on regular basis, and this is also influencing you, not just in that narrow field that you two are connected, but also outside of that. So it's very, very important, right? It's not just in sports, of course, especially in sports. We talk about coaches. You don't want to how like imagine players get like inspired by somebody who is sitting on a couch and drinking beer and they're telling them what to do. But I believe it's the same. And you kind of relate to people who are, and like the more you're active, good, healthy body, it's going to be reflected in the healthy mindset. And that can also reflect in the success and in the business and everything. So you want to associate with those kind of people. I think it's crucial part in any aspect of life and any career.
Yeah, I also think just the clarity of mind that comes from working out, it just spills over into how when you have a clear and sharp mind, you can make good business decisions for yourself, for your clients, for your family, right? Because you're clear minded. You're not living in a fog and, just fumbling around, hungover and, on the couch. I love it. I love it. So before we let you go, let's just talk a little bit about back to Shanghai. Tell us a little bit about the real estate market over there. What have you learned? What is it like? Tell us a little bit about homes and apartments and fun stuff like that.
Yeah, well, the main lesson I learned is that try to stay away from the downtown. Don't go to downtown, Lebanon. It's really, it's really crazy. Like with the prices here, just for the rent. In terms of actually buying a home, to be honest, I don't know too much about it. I know it's ridiculously expensive, and it's also like, I can compare it to US and the famous like American dream. Here it's the dream for most people here. When we talk about life and these goals and dreams, it's unidimensional answer. Everybody's saying, I wish I can have an apartment here, because really the prices are like, off the roof. And I think it was always like upwards trend, right? It's like a bubble. I think recently it reached some, like, not a plateau, but the level of increase is a little bit slower, but still you can see everywhere there is more and more construction, which means there is demand for real estate. So the construction, not just about different like how to say institutions, but it's actually apartment buildings, right? So I think it's still growing, and it's very interesting. I don't know for how long this can go, but it looks like that Shanghai, maybe it's not the whole China, but Shanghai is very, very special city, and I think everybody wants to come here. Not just from this region, but the whole Asia, and I think it's attracting a lot of people. There's a lot of capital. It's a financial center, so it's definitely a good place to do some investments if you are in real estate.
Yeah, I just pulled up an article. Recently, Shanghai is now the world's most expensive city, passing Hong Kong, London, and New York, and it's also one of the higher density cities as well. So it seems to have been skyrocketing for the past few years, for sure.
That's very cool.
And it's not good for for people who are here living and renting, unless you can actually do something about it. So maybe after this conversation, I would get more into that. Maybe it's a good way to spread out the interest and also learn something new. I think it can be a good way to maybe do some investments there, but I need to be careful, and I need to talk to the right people and see what to do about that.
Luckily, you have a cousin that's in finance, so
Okay.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's been super fun having you here. Thanks for spending your Sunday morning with us. And hopefully you won't be staying in the lockdown for too much longer.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's for me very great way to start a day, and it was super fun. Enjoyed it a lot. We still had so many things we didn't mention, but maybe some other time.
We'll do more of these.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back. And if you guys want more of Milan Krnjetin, obviously follow him at Milan Krnjetin, and subscribe to TenFitMen on YouTube. Anything else that I'm missing there?
Yeah, I mean all the other platforms. I think if you just search for TenFitMen, you can find it. Also, we have podcasts. I think this is good. The podcasts are good for the mindset, for the mental side of the sport and the game. I think it can also like apply in different fields. And yeah, that's it. Thanks so much. It was fun.
Yeah, that was great. And looking forward to finding my way to Shanghai for some private tennis lessons one day.
For sure. Yeah, we should do that.
Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you're listening, please like and subscribe. We appreciate it. Your reviews keep us going. So please give us your feedback. We appreciate all the feedback and your reviews online. And you can follow the Agent Upgrade podcast. You can also follow at Jasmine Mortgage Team or at the House of AC, us individually as well. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank you for listening to the Agent Upgrade podcast. If you are an agent looking for a new mortgage lender, start with Jasmine at jasmineteam.com. If you want to learn about real estate investing and working with investors, check in with Alan at thehouseofac.com. See you next time on Agent Upgrade.